Hey there, my name is Joe Gilder. I run the website homestudiocorner.com, and I want to show you today one of the favorite songs I've produced lately where I incorporated both loops with real recorded drums. I haven't done a lot of this over the years, and I've kind of fallen in love with it on this project. So it makes me excited to explore more loop-based production because it adds an element that you just can't get with one or the other. The song we're looking at here is a song called Free. It's one of my songs. This is one that was produced and recorded all in home recording studios around Nashville, which is where I'm from. And it just turned out really well. So the idea is I'm a typical rock guy. Most of the stuff I record is drums, bass, electric guitars, keys, vocals. And this one is no different except a couple of things. First, as I mentioned before, we've got these loops involved. As you can see, I've consolidated them into one big old piece of audio. There's one here that runs the length of the entire song, and then there's one here that comes in during the rap section. So that's the second part that's interesting. I have a friend who does a lot of hip-hop, and he actually rapped verse 3 on this song. And so for me, a typical straightforward rock guy, adding in hip-hop loops and a hip-hop rap over an otherwise fairly traditional grooving kind of a rock song ended up making it a really special and different, almost a genre-defying piece of music that, or maybe not genre-defying, but it merged these two genres together in a way that I think works really well. So let me play you a bit of the song first so you can hear kind of what's going on, and then I'll kind of dissect my thought process and the approach to how I did this so you can replicate that on the songs you're doing in your studio as well. So here we go. It's a song called Free. Take a listen.
It's better than it was a couple hundred years ago, but I think you better take a look. You don't think you'd ever do something to ever get yourself that low. You've lived forever by the book. Where are you?
So the song kind of continues. It goes into a pre-chorus and then a chorus, and it maintains this same loop is going throughout the entire song. So it's a real simple drum loop that was actually, and this is kind of what was interesting to me, I didn't set out to record this song this way. That's one of the beauties of producing music is things happen, these happy accidents come along. I knew this song, I wrote the song with my friend who was going to rap on it. So I knew there'd have to be some sort of tipping of the hat to some hip-hop element to it, but I didn't know what that would be. And as I was recording the scratch tracks, getting ready to go to my drummer's house where we recorded all of these drums, I needed something to groove along to more than just a straight click, right? The click, that just wasn't grooving enough for me to get and play the guitar part in a way that I think grooved well. So I found this loop that was basically a hip-hop style loop. And it made me bob my head in just a certain way that allowed me to record this guitar part in a way that felt like it had the right groove. So I literally just went through my loop library, found this one. It seemed to work at this tempo, dragged it in, ran it for the length of the song, and it all started with this loop, this exact loop, and this guitar part. Now this part was, since I recorded a scratch version, if you're not familiar with that, a kind of a throwaway version just to have something there, went back and re-recorded it once I had drums and bass in there because I could groove a little bit better once they were there. But this allowed me to set the tone for the entire song right here with this with these two elements, this one drum loop and this one guitar track. And everything else was built from there. The next stop for me was going to my drummer. And what was interesting is I sent him the tracks to listen to and to practice beforehand. And when I got there, he was hearing this big rock progression, right? He was playing at this big, huge John Bonham drum sound is what he was going for. And I said, no, this is actually going to be less towards rock, more towards hip hop, but with live drums. And as soon as I said that to him, something clicked in his head. He said, oh, I get it. So he pulled up, he had muted this loop while he was practicing because he thought it was just there to kind of, just as a guide track that we were going to get rid of it. And I said, no, we're actually probably going to keep that in the song. So this has ended up being what he played along to. The guitar and this loop, along with his click, is what he played along to. And he ended up coming up with a groove that just worked really well. Here's where he comes in. Let me get rid of the guitar. Oops, sorry. And here it is with the loop. Now, I have to say, to pull off something like this, you need a fantastic drummer. And my friend Tim Horsley, you can check him out at timhorsley.com if you want to hire a drummer to record your stuff remotely. He is fantastic. I have not edited these drums at all. And as you can see, he is locked into the grid pretty well. And it grooves with the loop really well also. So he's not playing the exact pattern. As you can see, the kick drum pattern, you can see it here, is different from what he's playing on the drums. So while the loop goes doom ga doom doom ga, then Tim is playing that same loop over and over, but the drum loop actually changes patterns halfway through the loop. It goes to this. So it goes from hitting, it goes boom ga boom boom, and then it goes back to boom ga boom boom ga. So it's changing that over and over, but then Tim is kind of remaining steady on top, and it makes for really interesting. We've got two very different kick drum sounds coming through, and very different snare and clap sounds coming through, but they're all working together really well.
You might think it.
So as you're listening to it, they almost blend into one another. Obviously, the intro to the song, we've got the loop going, where it's obvious it's a loop. And when the drums come in, that's pretty obvious as well. But neither the drums nor the loop are as front and center by themselves. Listen to what happens when we mute the drums. The loop doesn't really carry its weight entirely. It's a little anemic. It's not having enough volume. Same thing if we mute the loop, the drums don't quite carry it either. They're still a little distant, a little far away from the mix. Everything else is kind of up front. The guitar, the organ, the keyboard on the left, the bass, they're all up front in your face sounding good, but the drums are a little far. And this took a lot of playing around with in the mix, but I realized I have to kind of blend them together and bring both down a little bit so that they're both combined together, getting more in your face. So when I play them both together, suddenly drums are nice and up front like you want them, but each one individually does not do that. And I think that's really important. You want to hear both. You don't want one to overshadow the other, and you have to sacrifice a little bit of volume on each of them to make sure the overall volume works well in the mix. Now it just sits right on top of the mix, which is where you want it to be, especially with those big thumping kick drums. Now, another element, we tracked the drums. We were setting up, getting kind of the arrangement ready, and we decided to pull in another drum loop for the rap section. So since most of the song is just me singing along to a band, having the drum loop there is nice. But since we're adding in a rap here for verse 3, it almost made sense to make it even more over-the-top hip-hop, if that makes sense. So what we decided to do is add in an over-the-top kind of hip-hop drum loop that has a lot of hi-hats and just more kind of nodding towards, tipping the hat towards the hip-hop world in this section. So here's the loop we came up with and added to this song. So we're grooving, we come into the rap here. So as you can see, even just looking visually, you can see the pattern is, there's a lot of similarities, but there's a lot of differences. Different kind of more hyper kick drum parts, and then obviously that hi-hat wasn't there in the other loop as well. You combine the two together. Bring in the drums. So it's a fairly subtle addition to the drum world. And if you had asked me 10 years ago, hey, can you mix and match all these different loops? We literally have 3 different kick drums going on at once. I would have said, no, that's not right. That's not proper. You just need one. Well, that's not true, because this is working really well with all these kick drums mixed together, making one big wall of awesome. So let me play the whole thing for you so you can get an idea of what this section sounds like. So we'll go a couple bars coming into the rap. Last line of the chorus going into that. So you can feel how, as we keep adding the loops and the rap, it just builds up energy, and ends up just rocking your face off by the end of it.
Land of the free, home of the slave.
Ooh, Joe, man, you said a mouthful, man, when you said that, man. I mean,
home of the slave.
you know, some people not gonna understand the concept of what you're saying. Let me see if Low Pro can put some perspective in the situation. Yeah. Can't take away from all the men and women who gave their lives on the battlefield where the battle's real, but America's a battle still. Built off the back of black bruters, bloodthirsty opportunists, build us to the highest consumer. Monthly trips on slave ships, body shackled to the docks. Fast forward to present day, they try to tell me it's done stop. When they throw us in these slums, miseducate all our youngs, and they flood us with these drugs and these guns, then judge what we become. I'm just saying, let's be specific if you want statistics. 1 out of 15 is in prison. Coincidence is nonsense. I see the same pattern. Hashtag Black Lives Matter. I scream for my people until we're treated equal.
Free, land of the free, home of the brave. At least that's what they say. But if we cross the tracks and see, it can't really be land of the free, home of the slave.
All right, so that's how it turned out. I'm thrilled with this song. It's actually, as I'm shooting this video, it's not even released yet. It'll be released, I believe, at the same time this video will be put out. So if you want to check out this full, it's a part of an EP called Free. The name of the song is Free. You can check it out at joegildermusic.com. It'll be available there for free if you want to listen to it. Check it out. Share it with your buddies. But I wanted to make sure I showed you how cool it can be to, especially like, the hip-hop guys, the electronic guys, they get it. They are loop masters. They will put together a song with 50,000 loops and it'll sound amazing. But if you're on the other side of that fence, you're a more quote-unquote traditional rock guy, you like to record things with microphones, you're missing out if you don't step into the loop world. Now, I'm preaching to myself because, as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I'm not a big loop guy. I don't use a lot of loops in my productions, and I think that's been a mistake on my part. And as I was kind of backwards fell into using this loop on this song and bringing in the second loop, I'm kind of in love with the whole process. Now, is it right for every style of music and every song? No, but I think there are some major creative possibilities for you if you learn to incorporate loops into places where maybe loops don't make a lot of sense. For example, if you are one of the electronic guys, hip-hop guys, you're doing a lot of loop-based production, you can bring a lot of value to your buddy who does mainly rock or even country or some other style of music that doesn't tend to use a lot of loops. The more you work together, there's some really interesting things that could come out of that. On the flip side, for rock guys like myself, it would make a lot of sense for me to spend more time listening to loop-based productions, using loops in my productions, and connecting with people who are really good at putting loops together, because there are, like I said, something magical happened on this song. Whether you like the music, the style, the message, or whatever, it's irrelevant. It connected with me and allowed me to take this song to a level that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for these 2 tracks. 2 simple loop tracks. If I mute them out, the song is different. The song doesn't work. But adding them in changed everything. and I'm really happy that I did it. So I hope this was encouraging for you. I hope that it gave you some ideas about maybe a song you're working on right now. It's missing something. Maybe it's a loop. Maybe you need to spend 30 minutes going through a loop library, finding the right loop and dropping it in and making it work with your song. I think you'll be surprised how much fun it is and how much new life it can breathe into your song. Well, thanks for watching this. I hope it was really valuable for you. If you want to connect with me, the best place to do that is to head over to homestudiocorner.com. That's me there. You can check it out. This is a blog I run specifically for home recording folks. So there's over 1,000 articles and videos, and there's courses and things you can check out. Lots of good stuff that will help you make better music out of a home recording studio. You can also hit me up on Twitter and Facebook. Those links are down here. Would love to connect with you and see if this video inspired something awesome from you. If so, let me know. Hit me up on Twitter or Facebook. I'd love to hear about it. I'm Joe Gilder Music over there. And if you want to check out my music, specifically the song I used in this video, you can check that out over at joegildermusic.com. joegildermusic.com. It'll take you to this page that will look different because the album, the EP, will be released, but it'll be right in this area right here. It'll be called Free. Should be right at the top when you check this out, or if you're watching this 10 years in the future, there'll be 10 more albums, but go check out Free because it's really good. All right, that's it for me. Thank you so much for watching. Again, my name is Joe Gilder from homestudiocorner.com. Go make some good music.